What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the effortlessly entertaining Dr. Disaster, and the time has come for the idiots behind modern Doctor Who to admit that they were wrong, that they royally messed up, and that Whovians have largely abandoned them.
It's over. We are screwed.
When Russell T Davies took over for Chris Chibnall as the showrunner for Doctor Who, the idea was supposed to be that he was going to right the ship. They don't want to come out and admit it, but Doctor Who, back in the Jodie Whittaker era, was on a collision course with irrelevance, as viewers completely tuned out from the show, but rather than pull away from the blatant woke messaging that had plagued that entire era, Russell steered the ship right into what they had already been doing, to the point that our beloved character truly became Doctor.
Who the hell are you?
And no matter how many times we pointed out that viewers were tuning out, no matter how many times we showed irrefutable viewing data to prove that few people tolerated this new direction, the idiots at Bad Wolf Studios blamed poor viewership on things like the weather. They would look at the 7-day viewing figures, which have been the standard for deciding how well an episode is done for time immemorial, and they'd tell us to ignore that because actually the 28-day figures were spectacular, which is of course dubious. Ultimately, they just plugged their ears, made excuses, and ignored outside feedback. They gave off this kind of energy.
Everything's under control, situation normal. Everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
But above all, Russell T Davies and his crew insisted that actually the show was fine and that there definitely would be a season 3 of Ncuti Gatwa because everything was going great. However, now we are hearing definitive word that the future of Doctor Who is in doubt. We are hearing this from the man himself, Russell T Davies, as he recently wrote a piece for Doctor Who magazine and admitted that there are no plans for any more Doctor Who for the foreseeable future. What he wrote sounded like a self-obituary.
Let me out of my misery.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to follow me over on Rumble, where I've started uploading some content as well. But let's talk about what we have going on here with Doctor Who and Russell T Davies. We are going to read about it in this article here from Deadline. The headline reads, Doctor Who's showrunner casts more doubt over series' future as UK ratings plummet. We don't know what's happening. Well, fellas, if you'd spend less time using your mouth and more time using your ears, you would know exactly what is happening. Even Disney and the BBC are rejecting your asses because the show you made is silly, incoherent, and it shamelessly attacks straight white men as if they are the ultimate evil that plagues the universe. If I were in charge of the IP, I have to admit that I don't know what the hell I would do with it besides give it some kind of a hiatus for at least a few years. There is nothing more to be done. The article then goes on to summarize what Russell T Davies wrote, but if you look here, this is the actual piece that Davies wrote. It says here, "No, not the end. Don't be mad. Doctor Who will never end. There are pathways leading to potential futures. We've still got the mystery of that bright and blazing ending. Oh, hello. Yes, indeed. Hello, Billy. And there's Susan, of course. I wonder if we'll ever find out who the boss is or who the boss are. I'm still wondering who Gus is from Mummy on the Orient Express. Maybe they're the same, but we don't know what's happening yet. And while everyone works that out, I'll take a pause on this page. Thanks for reading, and thanks to Doctor Who Magazine. A delight to work with you on this wonderful magazine. Hopefully, we'll have news soon, and certainly, the war between the land and the sea is about to break out, so there are great things ahead. Until then, it has been an absolute joy. Like I said before, it really sounds like Russell is signing off for good right there. It sounds like he is saying goodbye, and he is certainly admitting that they have no deal in place with anyone to push the show forward at any place like Disney or the BBC. But now let's pivot back to this Deadline article where they talk about the dire future for this show. You know it's bad when even the mainstream media types are turning on them. It says here, Deadline has analyzed official 7-day viewing figures for season 15, and it does not make easy reading for those involved in Doctor Who. The season averaged 3.2 million viewers over its 8 episodes, which was 500,000 viewers down from last year's season, Gatwa's first as the Doctor. And for full perspective, prior to Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor, the lowest rated episode in the history of modern Doctor Who was a Whittaker episode where they hit about 3.5 million viewers. And keep in mind that David Tennant, Christopher Eccleston, Matt Smith, those guys used to get around 7 million viewers per episode easily at the bottom level of what they would pull in. So think about that. This last season was averaging less than the worst rated episode ever, which was less than half of what they got at the low end for the actual well-liked Doctors. But reading on, Deadline tells us that Ncuti got smoked even by Jodie Whittaker. It says, compare season 15 to Jodie Whittaker's last outing as the Time Lord, and things get grimmer. Season 13 pulled in 1.7 million more viewers, averaging 4.9 million in 2021. Deadline has used viewing figures from Barb, the UK's official ratings body. They include on-demand and streaming viewing on televisions, but are not the full picture. Broadcasters and streamers prefer to use 28-day figures, which provide a more conclusive overview. Nonetheless, 7-day viewing is usually directional, and the patterns of decline will likely be reflected in Doctor Who's final ratings. A BBC spokesperson said, Doctor Who is the BBC's biggest drama for the under 35s and remains one of the most popular brands on iPlayer with over 70 million viewing hours in 2024. So you can see that they end this article off trying to make excuses yet again for this putrid show. The iPlayer has traditionally been a really fun excuse that these jackasses have used to try to convince us that actually Doctor Who is fine. But of course, the 7-day viewing figures include iPlayer numbers, so it is a piss poor excuse. And this is just a prime example of why this show is in such shoddy shape. Because nobody wants to make Russell T Davies accountable. Nobody wants to face reality. Even when talking about how bad things look, these guys throw out excuses like crazy. At this point, I very sincerely doubt that we will get a continuation of the Billie Piper regeneration. It will likely end up as a permanent cliffhanger which nobody gives a shit about. But I'm going to leave it there. Drop your mockery of Doctor Who and Russell T Davies into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.